Yo, dude.
Sorry, I didn't know that it was.
Yeah, you're all good.
I don't use Discord that often, so I'm getting used to it.
You're totally fine, man. How you doing?
Okay. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah.
Perfect. Yep.
Okay.
Alright, I got the stream on mute now.
Nice, nice.
Actually, I'm gonna just get out of the stream completely so that I don't have it in the background.
Sure. Sounds good.
Cool. So, how do you, I know I've seen a couple of your coaching sessions, and I know you give a lot of good tips. A little bit of background on me. I used to be a Zerg player. Well, still am, but I wanted to practice this season, and last season, Protoss. Started out at, like, Gold 1, moved up to Plat 1, and then this season I got ranked in the Diamond 3.
Oh, God. That's a bit of an upgrade right there, I would say. Nice, dude.
I was a Zerg Diamond 2.
Okay.
So, trying to keep on ramping up.
There you go, man. Well, I feel like in Diamond, you know, I mean, it's gonna definitely be hard, but well, I mean, we'll see how your games go that we're about to look at. But it's if you already achieved Diamond 2, that's I feel like it bodes well in your favor, I guess, because I think a lot of people that really have the struggles in Diamond are usually people that get to Diamond and then it's more or less like falling out of Diamond repeatedly. So that's
right.
That's good. Nice, man. Nice, nice.
I feel like I understand most concepts that you've been teaching, and
nice.
I mean, I watch and I try to learn as much as I can.
Sure. And what matchup specifically do you want to look at today?
My worst is usually PvZ.
Okay.
I didn't get any in today, but I've got some from 11:30.
Sure.
That I wouldn't mind you watching.
If we do something from a actually, I think that's on the same patch. We should be fine.
Yeah. When did the patch come out? Thursday?
It came out Tuesday, so we should be good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so that's cool. We could start that, I guess. Did we add on?
It still says in the it's failing.
Okay. Try this. Or I see you this way. You're in the VFam anyways. Makes it easy. I'll just invite you to a party. Or you invited me to a party. Damn, you're fast.
Quick at the draw.
Oh, by the way, I like your avatar. Oh my god, it looks so sexy.
Which one's that? Oh, the Amon one?
Yeah, it's the Naruto. Yeah.
I didn't even notice that yours was that. I've had that since I pretty much started.
Yeah, same.
Quinky dink. Alright. So, watch this with others.
And then promote me to lobby host and we'll get it going.
Yep. Word.
Boom, nice, dude. Okay. So I just to throw this out there really fast before I even see how you play, I really feel like this matchup on the Protoss' side of things is heavily based on how well you can kind of control. Nice picture, by the way, next to your Nexus. How well you can control the drone count, really. That's what it's honestly all about. And
so basically, early pressure, denied drones, make his larva have to turn into drones after the 4-minute mark.
Yeah, and exactly. Like, it doesn't necessarily have to just be drone kills, which I think a lot of people get obsessed about. It could also be just drone denial by forcing units.
Gotcha. I'm not watching where you're watching, so
yeah,
are you just watching
I'm kind of just looking at your build right now. So your probes, okay. And I say this to everybody, and it is important, and I'll say it to you as well. I do think you should work on, in the very beginning of the game right now, when nothing's really happening, just work on stacking close patches, because it does increase your income a bit. Like, it'll make your pylon go down a little bit faster. It'll make your gateway, your nexus, all of it will go a little bit faster. And every second counts and things like this. Like, you know, early game, like 5 seconds could make or break the difference of lots of things. So it's just, all it is simply just stacking close patches, and if you don't know what patches are close and which are far, if you physically click them, the ones with more amount on them are close.
Thanks, Woogie, for
right, so try to get the 2 on both the left and the right probes and get them down to the most left and the most right patches.
Yeah, well, like, you don't have to necessarily do it off this split if you're not comfortable with that. You can practice it, but that's not necessarily what needs to happen. But if you don't split at all, probes will never saturate properly on the far patches, like you just said. So you can fix that after it's been split, and that's fine. Like, you start the first probe, and then while it's building, you fix it. with your mineral line, and then
Gotcha.
just make sure your very middle patch, like on this map, you can see it. Make sure the very middle one has 2 probes, and like right now you can see it does, which is good. But yeah, so you get
Gotcha.
the three of them are obvious. One of them's in the very center. It's a little bit less obvious, but yeah, just making sure those at the very least are stacked with 2.
How much of a delay is your stream?
You're gonna have probably like a 4-second, 5-second delay.
Okay. Because I'm watching what you're
Sure.
talking about.
Yeah, you could watch it and just mute it, and that would
Yeah.
yeah. All right. So and then your gas, I like it. I also do like that you only chrono boosted 1 time if you want to go Nexus before core, which it looks like you're gonna do. I think if you want to go core,
Probe should turn around.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, it did.
Yes, he does.
If you want to go Nexus, but I don't like that your probe went back up though. But if you want to go Nexus before,
Oh, because he needs to go back down and make the core.
yeah, exactly. I would say,
But I scouted that he had his hatch first. So
what do you mean?
is that a big deal? I scouted that he went hatch first, not pool first. So I guess.
Yeah, no, that's nice. But like, what I'm talking about is your probe at your natural. Like you built the Nexus, but then you pieced, and your gateway's done. Like when you go down to build the Nexus, you should always leave it there because the core is going to be finishing or going to be started at the same time every time.
Gotcha. Okay, so don't delay that.
Yeah, like it's you're even if you have to wait for maybe 80 minerals or something, it's just stand there because if you delay this core, it's gonna bite you in the ass pretty hard more and more the more you do this.
Gotcha. I don't remember all the details of this game, but
Sure.
it's good to. I play pretty much the same style all the time, so the little things I need to make sure I get done.
Yeah, and I was gonna say the chrono boost thing. If you do want to spend 2 chrono boosts, which would put you down to 24 energy right now, if you were to have spent the second one, you would saturate your second gas faster, and that would be totally fine. But if you were going to do that, the only reason why that would make sense is if you were going to go core before Nexus. It doesn't mean you're not going to expand at all. It just means that you're going to prioritize tech faster. So it's a build that like it would sacrifice maybe instead of you having like a 30 probe count, you'd only have like a 26 at that same stage. But now you're going to get like a much faster Oracle or something like that.
That's something whenever I watch any streamers or any pro games, I don't keep track of when they're chrono boosting because that's not something that commentators really talk about.
Sure.
Oh, he's using his chrono boost efficiently or whatnot. So
yeah,
like those are things that I don't think about when I'm building my build. I just try to make sure that I'm economical with my chrono boost.
Yeah. Just know that it's gas heavy if you want to chrono multiple times. It's the only way it makes sense. So rushing the core is correct. But if you only chrono once before the Nexus is done, which is what you did, which is perfect. If you want to take a Nexus first, that makes a lot of sense because now what that means is your gas, one of your gases, is going to be saturated really fast. But then you're also going to keep the mineral line saturated after that, and it times it out to where you can chrono again after the Nexus is started because then your money is going to be a little bit more freed up then because you're not having to save for the Nexus itself, and you can take your second gas and you can saturate your second gas quickly after. So it makes a lot of sense. So your build so far is fine, other than the fact that your probe is not building the core right now.
Gotcha.
And also, I will say this too, though. This is one more thing. Mostly fine. When I said your build is fine, I'll say actually it's mostly fine. I actually would prefer if because I think you've missed some drone. I'm gonna go back and look really fast and just look at your drone production.
How efficient I've been with my probes.
Because you should never be below 16 on your mineral line ever. Once you hit 16,
I should never be below 16 on the mineral line.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Like don't even pull off for the gas. Like just make new probes for the gas. And like right now you're
supply block.
Yeah, just for a second, but it's okay. It's not that big of a deal yet.
When should so I'm building a wall on my natural. When should I be pulling that probe?
When you, this is kind of how it goes, okay? If you want to be really, really, really effective with your scouting and possibly even deny your opponent's natural, you can build a pylon with your first probe and then send it across the map. And then your very next...
Okay, so rally my first probe down to the wall.
Yeah. The first probe you build goes down, builds a pylon, and then goes across the map. And then the probe you build directly after that, this is before chrono boost, that probe is also rallied down to the pylon.
Okay.
And then
that makes the gate.
Yeah, and exactly. You make the gate, and then you go back to the mineral line at your main, and then you after your second probe that's going to go down there spawns, you re-rally the Nexus to the mineral line. Don't forget to do that.
Gotcha.
Otherwise your probe's going to go there.
Yeah.
And then and then you take you kind of just gotta like pay attention to it. But you can take the gas then. Once you're now saturating the middle line more and more and more, and then you can once you hit about 300 minerals, you pull a probe off, or like maybe like 280 even. You pull a probe off and you just go down to the natural, just like off the mineral line, or if one's about to spawn, you can do it off the nexus when it's created, basically.
Gotcha.
That kind of is based off of how well you split your probes. The money will change each game. You might have 30 more minerals this game, or you might not, depending on how well you stacked your probes on the close patches and all that shit. But yeah, then just know that around 280, you want to pull a probe, go down there to your natural, throw down the nexus, leave it there, and then throw down the core. And then after the core, throw down a second gas, and then throw down your second pylon.
Pylon? Okay.
Yeah, and in this game...
So
go ahead.
When do I completely wall off? Do I completely wall off when I see that a pool has been built first? And then...
You never do want to completely wall off if you're going to play standard.
Right.
So, like, if you would have seen... Okay.
I might be getting ahead of what point in the game we're at.
Yeah, like... When your probe goes off the pylon, okay? When your first pylon building probe goes, yeah, exactly. Your scouting probe goes over there and it sees there should be a drone right when you get there that is ready to take a natural if the Zerg is standard.
Right. He should be pulling it at 16.
Yeah, every single Zerg will do that if it is a standard build. If there is no natural, even remotely started, and you go into his base and there is a pool that is more than 10% of the way done. Because if it's 10% of the way down, it means that he probably saw your probe with his overlord, and he's like, oh, fuck it, I'm just going to build a pool because he's going to block me. That could totally happen.
So he had to switch up gears.
Yeah. But if, because some Zergs are just like... Go ahead.
You would think that with as much time as I've played Zerg, like I'd be better at this matchup.
Sure, that's totally fine.
I know what a Zerg is thinking, but I feel like
this is why
I just get overwhelmed.
This is the exact reason why when everyone asks me, if I play random, is that going to help me get better faster? And I say no, because it's different perspectives.
You need to understand the core of one race to be able to counter it.
It's just perspectives as well, like, right? Like, if you're expanding against Protoss, that's a perspective of Zerg. But if you're trying to deny an expansion of Zerg as Protoss, it's a completely different perspective, and you're not thinking about the timers exactly the same. So it's just a different scenario, even though the same thing's happening. But anyways, if you scout no natural and you're like, all right, let's go into the main, and no drone is even trying to take it, the pool should be around like 40%, 50%, 60, 70%, somewhere in that range. Like
you went early pool.
Yeah, exactly, halfway or more. The further along it is, the more likely it was a 12 pool. The less further along it is, the more likely it's maybe like a 13, 14, 14, something like that. And then all you want to pay attention to then is gas, if he has any. And if he does have gas, you probably want to leave that probe there and see if he makes gas. It still mines gas after link speed is done, like after it has enough for that.
Because then it's a Bane bust if he's still mining gas.
Yeah, it could be Banes or Roaches.
Well, if he's getting speedlings, more than likely it's Banes, right?
It could be either one.
Okay.
Because Roaches can become Ravagers, and Ravagers can also bust your door open pretty hard. And Roaches alone could also just rip a hole into your door, and then Lings can flood through it. Banes also are very common too. They just bust down, bust a wall down. But the thing about one of the reasons why Roaches are also kind of common is because if you just go sentries against Banes don't really do anything. Because he's not going to have nearly enough Banes off of like a one base all-in to really blow up a gateway and then also kill your army. That's going to require like 18 Banelings, and that is so much fucking gas off of one base. But if he has like Roaches, he could just kill your wall out of range of you, and then Speedlings cover him from letting you come out of your base, and then he just swarms you once he kills your wall. Like, all these things could happen. My point is, like, you don't have to really think about it that hard. Like, just being like, oh, is he still mining gas after speed? If the answer is yes, the only thing you got to do differently is maybe make a couple shield batteries. That's it.
Gotcha. For the front wall.
Yeah, just to be extra safe. Be like, shield battery, and we're good. But yeah, most Zergs in general will have a natural, and you'll be fine. You could do your build as is. But again, if there is no natural, I would say this is the perfect response. Okay, core and second gate, leave one gap in that 3 building wall off, so you can have one zealot standing in the middle, and then you're fine. And then open up as if this is maybe like a PvP where you have like a 2-gate opener, and now you can go into like adepts or stalkers or sentries or whatever the hell you want to do. All of it's fine, but you need to definitely wall, like, get that pseudo wall where there's a one gap in it, If the guy
Or
does
Zealot
not
to
expand,
stand in,
yeah, because if you Nexus,
Or Deb.
if you Nexus first and he does not take a natural, and he's like 12 pulling you, your wall will be unfinished by the time the Zerglings get there, and then he could very well swarm your Zealot, kill it, kill the pylon, and then the game's fucked.
And then you're fucked. Yep. Okay. Sweet.
All right. But yeah, your first scout here is after gate. That is a bit late. So I would.
Because I set it at the gate. Yeah.
Yeah. So I would definitely. Oh, sorry. There's actually one more thing I wanted to show you too. It was we got kind of sidetracked there for a second.
Yep.
All right. Pylon just finished. Blah blah blah. You chrono boost. I want to see your probes right now. Okay, you're still making. Nice. And this is what I would say: rally the Nexus to your gas. Okay.
Gotcha. Instead of getting a big chunk.
And then your probe production's actually not bad. It's not as I thought it was going to be worse than that for some reason, but it's fine.
Gee, thanks.
But
no, kidding.
Now there it is. There now, you're not making any. And the reason why this is because your build order is inefficient, and it's the pylon.
Right.
It's the Zealot. That's what it. I was like, what the fuck actually are you doing? Like, why is this a problem?
I wasted 100 minerals.
Yeah.
I didn't need to do that because he didn't go pool first.
Exactly. So the core is the biggest problem of all here. Like your core is already at least like 25 seconds late.
Gotcha, because I started the Zealot and I didn't bring the probe down after he built the Nexus. Okay, that's an easy fix.
The way it times out is if you go Nexus core, and then you make second gas and then pylon while squeezing out probes as best you can. You can throw down your second chrono boost the second pylon is done, and you will hit 23 supply as your pylon is almost done, if that makes sense.
And then those probes go to the gas.
Yeah.
The second gas.
Well, like you'll have 23 probes at that point, so you'll have exact saturation on everything. But when the second gas is done, you could rip off your mineral line easy because you'll have 19 out of 16 at that point. And then you'll have one extra probe that's not here, which is actually still scouting your opponent. Or it should be.
Okay.
Because the main things you want to look for, there are multiple indicators that tell you you're getting all in or not. Or there's very high chances of getting attacked. One of those indicators is gas, and the second indicator is energy usage on a queen. So you want to, like, the big one is you want to look at 100 gas or beyond. If he stops at 100 gas, you're good. If there's no gas, you're fucking great. If it goes beyond 100 gas, you might want to throw a shield battery down just to be safe. That's number one.
Okay.
The second one is, does he double inject or does he go single inject and tumor? That's a big deal.
Sorry. Double inject.
Yeah.
Would be lots of Zerglings probably.
Yes.
Unless he's droning really hard.
It doubled.
And And a inject and a tumor. What would that lead to?
Third base. A tumor would mean that he wants to have more mobility with his queen to cover a third easier, so that he can actually take a third.
Should that so then that would probably go outside of his natural then?
Yeah, like the tumor will most likely be being thrown down at the top left of his natural as soon as the queen's out.
Gotcha.
So that.
Okay, so
yeah, good.
Trouble I have then. I mean, let's play on with the replay, and I don't remember this game specifically.
Sure.
So my scouting probe, I don't feel like I'm great with it. Like the control of it.
That's fine. Honestly, you can literally just sit there like you are. I don't give a shit. You just want to check you want to just check the periodic things that are important. And like I said, 100 and beyond gas is important, and tumor is important, or is it inject. So right now we're not paying attention to any of the gas, which is, that's.
It's wasted scouting. Yeah, I need to be more. I need to be diligent about my scouting.
Yeah, because there's nothing that can kill you right now. Like the Zerglings will come out like by the time you figure this stuff out, and then you can see he's still mining gas. I would be worried right now if I were you to be like, oh shit, like this dude is.
If I saw this.
Exactly, I'd be like, okay, there's a potential. I wouldn't be like I'm gonna die, but I would just say, I need a shield battery, just one at least, just because what one shield battery will do, is it.
So.
Or go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
You go.
Okay, so what should I be doing with my probe then, and what times are specific to check these things?
So right around, it depends. Also, the time changes on when he takes the gas, right? You just need to know that if you look at a gas, okay, and you go, okay, that gas just started mining, and you should know that as soon as your probe gets to his base, because there's no reason why you shouldn't know that. Your probe...
It's 2250 is starting gas, right?
Yes. And when you look at a gas and you go, okay, he took his gas, we're good. Give yourself, look at the clock when that happens and put about 40 seconds on it. And then remember that and be like, okay, if he started it at 2 minutes, let's say 2:40, if I'm not really paying attention the whole time, 2:40 is when I need to follow back up on that shit and check it again. And around 2:40, you'll be like, okay, well, how's the gas looking? And right around there, you'll see your answer if he's going to rip Jones off or if he's going to leave him on.
I don't have this committed to memory. How much does a fully saturated gas get per minute?
It's about 128, 150-ish.
Okay.
So if you do if you were talking like 40 seconds, that'll give you a very good rough estimate of where he's going to be at with, exactly. Like it's going to be around 100 then, and you're going to see if he's going to leave it on or not. And again, the correct response to him leaving it on is just make one battery.
Okay.
And then if he further beyond that, so then after you see that, you can leave his base. Just leave his base. Go ahead.
Is that a good wall, by the way?
No. We'll get to that in a minute.
Okay.
We'll fix that in a second, dude. Don't worry.
Okay.
But
next.
So you leave his base, right? The probe can go to his 4th, to his 5th. It doesn't fucking matter. Just leave his base, and then come back again. I would say right about now, honestly, like around 3:20ish. And all you want to know is you want to check the front of his base. Is that queen throwing a tumor down in front of his base or not?
Or did it inject?
Yeah, and if you see no efforts at all for him to, if you see no queen in the front of his base, you can dive in a little deeper. And if you see a hatchery that has eggs on it because he's injecting it, and you see that timer on it, you can be like, all right, well, at this point, if you still haven't made a shield battery, make a fucking shield battery, because you are gonna probably need that shit pretty soon.
And if the probe does see the second Evo, he's playing a long game.
Well, this Evo thing is something I would say is. This is very obscure. This is something you'll never see very many people do. This is really awkward.
It shouldn't be against Protoss.
Yeah, it should definitely not be against Protoss. This is just if I saw this, I'd be like, what the fuck is this guy smoking right now? But I would say that like the tech he has at his wall, if you see something, sure, that's nice. But if you don't see anything, that doesn't matter. You should still expect the gas tells you a lot. And the
gas tells aggressiveness.
Yes, it tells you that he's either going to take a really fast layer, and that we'll figure that out in a second as to why that is, or it tells you that he's going to be aggressive, very likely. It's a high chance of it. So making one battery is how you can initiate that good defense for yourself. And then again, the creep tumor means that you're probably fine. And then after you scout for the queen taking the tumor or doing the inject, if your probe is still alive, run it away for just a second and just see if he's going to try to take a third. And this is mostly if he's going for a creep tumor, not if he's going for an eject. If he's going for an eject, you can stay at his third if you want to, but at this point, you're probably going to be worried about some shit. The battery is kind of official at this point, but if there is a tumor, just make sure he's taking a third, like he's going to, because then that really confirms what he's doing. It's probably going to be some type of speedling opener with drones and shit like that, more standard Zerg styles.
Do I still have where did my scouting probe go? I'm looking.
Hold on.
I must have sent him back home.
Yeah, I think you did. He's nowhere to be seen, and he's not dead because there's no units lost. But yeah, so scouting for the third is kind of nice. The next thing I would love for you to do, now that you're in Diamond League, I would like you to do one of these two things. You need to either make an adept, or you need to make a sentry. Out of one of your first units out of these gateways. If this is not like a one base all in. And again, if it's one base all in, the Zealot would have been fine.
And that's also because that's also not making a Zealot, right?
Yeah, again, the Zealot is I only give you the stamp of approval on a Zealot if he one bases you. And you see no natural when you go with your first probe.
I know that this was a thing back in the day, but starting a Zealot as soon as the gate is complete, and then doing your scout, and then canceling the Zealot if you see that there's no pool first.
Don't do that.
Is that still a thing?
No, because that's all that's going to do is delay your core and delay your probes and shit. It doesn't make it won't help you at all. But so yeah, Zealot would only be okay if he's one basing you. If he's playing standard and he's expanding, don't make anything out of the gateway until your core's done, and then make out of your first gateway, because you should only have one done at this point, by the way.
Right.
You add on your second gate a little bit later. Your first gate should either make a, if you want to go for some type of a 2-base all-in, a Stalker is totally fine because you could deny scouting that way. But if you want to play a standard game, it has to either be an Adept to scout his base with, or a Sentry, which will sit there defensively and then eventually make a Hallucinated Phoenix to scout his base with.
Do I need to make 2 sentries eventually? To have a force field?
There's no need to necessarily do that, because by the time your first Hallucinated Phoenix gets into his base, if you have seen if you saw an initial mining of the 100 plus gas, and you're like, this guy could all in me, and you still make a Hallucinated Phoenix, if you made that shield battery, because that's when you should make that battery, and then after you make the sentry, because you won't just have the one sentry only, you could have like a Stalker or something after that, or an Adept or something, you will still have a wall with a battery behind it, and that will buy you time to do many things. It'll create this opening for you to deal with lots of different stuff. And also, you should be able to, you should be able to see what he's doing with your Hallucinated Phoenix Scout if you go for the sentry route, to see, okay, he's going for a Roach All-In, or he's going for a Bailing Bust, and this should be before it's at your base. It's impossible for it to be at your base unless it was one base again, at that point in time, because it's so early for that sentry to be able to do that.
Okay.
And then also on your wall, the only thing you got to do to fix it is Pylon needs to be up 1 pixel, Core needs to be to the right 1 pixel, and the middle gateway needs to be up 1 pixel, and your wall would be fucking solid.
Gotcha. So when that pylon goes down, the circle should be touching.
You don't need it to be touching either. You can have it 1 pixel off, and it can still connect.
Okay, cool.
Because like if right now, instead of having your gate in the gateway that's connected to the core, instead of having the gateway on the right side of it, if you had it on the top corner of it instead, it would be perfect.
Right.
Because
when I place that pylon down, I don't. I guess my experience with Protoss mechanics don't know how that works.
Yeah, if you fuck it up like this again, and you're like, oh god, okay, that's not going to look good. Another way you can fix it is if you actually had the gateway, the middle gateway, if you put it 2 pixels to the right and then 1 down, you could create a door right there, and then you could put the core on the left of that gateway. That would also be a good wall.
So 2 right, 1 down.
Yeah, because then
middle.
Yeah, because what you don't want to have happen is what's happening right now, where your wall is corner to corner. You never want corner to corner.
Yeah, because then that doesn't create a full wall. Right?
Yeah, because
what happens? Too much surface area.
Yes, what happens is 3 Zerglings can now hit your Zealot and also possibly just squeeze by and get in your base straight up. And with the other kind of wall where you have the buildings making a hallway at some point for 1 pixel, only 1 Zergling at a time can hit your unit. So if we're talking about a shield battery being a part of this wall, a shield battery will keep your unit alive ridiculously long compared to the wide surface area wall, because a shield battery regenerates energy even while it's spending it, and a shield battery heals 3 shields per 1 energy. So we're talking 300 shields just by default for your unit. So that shit will deplete really fast if you're having a lot of surface area on your unit, and you don't want that at all. All right, we're talking about a lot in the beginning of these stages. So far, do you have any questions about anything that doesn't make sense or anything like that?
No, everything makes perfect sense.
Okay. All right, next thing I will say about your build that definitely needs to be critiqued is your tech timing. Against Zerg, you need to be very, very particular about what you want to do. Yeah, exactly. Crisp is a perfect word for it. You need to know your plan, and your core was already delayed by like a half a minute. And now your core has been done for a while, and you have no follow-up tech. Or I'm just kidding. I'm totally sorry. I didn't even see the Stargate.
I was going to say Stargate something. Damn, bro. Take it easy.
All right.
I know you're used to coaching scrubs, but I'm trying here.
All right, but let's look at this, though. Your core, let me critique it another way. Your core has 36 seconds on warp gate, and your Stargate's only 29 seconds the way done. There's 7 seconds of discrepancy. Okay? It's actually...
Yeah, I don't think I have the gas.
Let's see it. Also, here's a cool tip, and this is something I actually learned from Mechanic when I played Archon mode with him in an event we played together. You don't need to prioritize warp gate before your tech if you're not going to go for an all-in. So if your plan is to actually...
So put my tech down before warp gate.
Yeah, you totally can. If your plan is to harass him, like if your plan was to go for an Oracle, Let's say. I don't know what it is, but let's just say it's an Oracle. And you want to get in there and you want to kill some drones. And you're going to sit back on your 2 bases for now and see what damage you can do, but you're going to make probes behind it and keep evolving your build more and more. You could totally throw that Stargate down before you get Warp Gate. Because that will only delay Warp Gate by about 10 seconds. And that 10 seconds is not going to make or break the difference for you at all because you're playing defensive anyways. It only makes a difference if you're like looking for that proxy fucking prism or pylon to like really get the damage done as quick as you can, and you need to kill the Zerg with your all-in, which you're looking. If you make a Stargate, you're definitely not going for that kind of a route.
Hey, where was? I do have a probe out on the map now, don't I?
It's because I backed it up. It's just to see your Stargate timing after the core. It was about 7 seconds.
Gotcha.
Which is again, it's a little late. And also the other thing. You could totally throw this core down the second, or sorry, you could throw down that Stargate the second the core is done. You should be able to, and the reason why you couldn't is because you made a second pylon before you made a second gas, and you also made the Zealot. So it made your build inefficient.
Made a second pylon before the second gas, so gas then pylon. Gotcha.
Yeah, because like we were saying before, the build goes like this: pylon, gate, nexus, core, gas, pylon.
Gotcha.
And then 1 chrono boost after the first pylon, 2nd chrono boost after the second pylon.
Yep. So you don't get supply blocked.
And you can also decide if you want to save a 3rd chrono boost for the Nexus again, or you can go 2nd chrono boost for the Nexus, and then 3rd chrono boost goes on the Gateway for a fast Adept or Sentry. Either one works. Whenever I go Adept, I usually go chrono boost on Gateway, plus the 2nd chrono on the Nexus. If that makes sense. Like, you should to not confuse you, you'll have 3 chronos when the core is done. Does that make sense? Like for the whole game so far? Yep. Okay. Because I know I said that sometimes I say shit in a weird way and people are like, wait, what the fuck is he talking about? What?
No, everything you're saying is
all right, perfect.
Every time I watch you coach, I'm like, this guy, he explains it to an effect where a toddler should understand it.
Yeah, that's what I go for, honestly. Just making sure, because I don't want anyone to be like confused afterwards. All right, and then here's another thing again, right? So it's just
something out of the fucking Stargate, right?
Yeah, like there's 340, and then something starts.
So how long does it?
16 seconds. And yeah, it's just things like that need to, like, against Zerg, this is what will make you lose games against Zerg, because if you give them breathing room at all with drones, they will run over your ass, and your harass will just feel.
I know.
Yeah, you'll be like, wow, my harass didn't do anything this game. Why is that? Why did that happen? And it's because you might not realize your Oracle's like a full minute late compared to what it should be.
Right. Yep. And I know as Zerg, I time out my my spores going down at 4 minutes, so.
Yeah, makes it rough. Alright, and then you got a nice scout off in his base. You did see the Hydroden.
Yep.
And we'll against this, and let's just see what your reaction is. You're going for a Twilight Council, you're going for more gates. I would say a great reaction to something like this, if he's going to go Hydra, and also he's got a lot of speedlings, I would love Colossus if I were you, or at the very least like Archon or something.
But doesn't it? Yeah, I think okay, I'm not gonna spoil it, but when you say Colossus,
sure,
then I have to make 2 different tech structures.
That's
and
totally
that takes
fine.
a lot of time.
No, that's totally fine.
That's totally fine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Usually I find that's my problem. I'm sorry, did I cancel that or did he kill that?
I think you canceled it. Let's just look and I'm gonna really yell at you if you didn't cancel it.
Mm-hmm.
You canceled it. Good job. Okay, you get a gold star. But let's just say this though. Whenever you expand like that, this is another reason why a shield battery is also good. So let me say this. If you have not yet started a shield battery, you should start one right now for this exact reason. And it is
at the wall?
Yes, at your natural, but inside your natural wall. If you're getting ready to take a 3rd base, move out with your army that is going to cover your 3rd base and leave 1 dude in the doorway with a battery behind him, so that if your opponent tries to do a run by in your base while you're covering a 3rd, battery doesn't let that happen.
Gotcha.
Because if you don't,
this is always one of my parts of my game where expanding is either during an attack or I feel like I've got the window to do it, but then shit like this happens.
Yeah, and also this is something huge. This is massive. Okay, if you learn one thing at this stage of the game, this is what I want you to learn, because this is what you need to be aiming for. Your third base, if you are going to play a standard game against Zerg, needs to be going down by 5 minutes, or a little bit earlier than that. It's 6:05, and your third is super late. And it's because the build is a little inefficient. It's not timed out super well. And you also you went for too many, I would say too many structures before you took the third, like too many gateways.
Is it supposed to be 3 unit producing structures per saturated base?
Like more or less, kind of. Yes. It's like a general idea. I do say that sometimes when I talk to people about StarCraft. But if we're talking about setting up your third base, if your plan is to go for a third, you could totally do this. If you're gonna go Stargate, you could do this off of 2 gateways.
Right.
So two gateway Stargate, and you could make, like, let's say 2 oracles out of your Stargate. One oracle could go around the map and poke and try and harass and be annoying, which you have one oracle, or you have 2 oracles out there right now, and then you could leave 1 oracle above your third base. And if this guy does a speedling flood on your third and your units that are there,
that can defend.
Exactly. If you go for 3 oracles, you could have 2 aggressive and 1 defensive, because 2 oracles is kind of nice because you can one-shot drones that way. But my point is like, if you're gonna go Stargate, you should expand with your Stargate. You should leave something there to guard it. Like an oracle's perfect while you take it. And then instead of throwing down gateways 3 and 4, it should be Nexus at your third, and then you start making more production. Because putting yourself in a situation where you're on 4 gates with a charge upgrade, with double forge and a Stargate, and then your third is exposed as fuck and gets denied now. It's putting you, now you're kind of in a position where this game for you is honestly kind of becoming an all-in. Like,
yeah,
in terms of efficiency, it's not becoming.
I felt at this point, okay, you deny my third, and I've got all these structures up. It's time to go attack.
Yeah.
It's time to ramp up my attack.
And that's scary. because you want to guard your third first.
Long term, I think it's scary, but I feel like at this level it's okay, but I want to get to the next level. So yeah.
Yeah, you definitely
understand.
You definitely want to guard it. And then another thing too. Here's a big tip. Okay, this will make it easier for you to guard it, because I will say there are still chances it could die if someone just goes, you know what, I'm gonna flood that third and all in it. I don't care. I'm gonna stay on 29 drones or 33 drones and make mass lings. The perfect way to deal with this shit, if you're making a Nexus and need to guard it, is put pylons next to the Nexus, 1 pixel off of them, and you put units between them.
Okay, so yeah. So there's low surface area.
Yeah,
for units.
It'll make Zerglings
and then the AI for the Zerglings fuck up.
Yep, it'll make the Zerglings so fucking stupid.
Okay.
And then
well, then once that pylon finishes, and what do I build around the third?
Once the pylon finishes, you don't need to build anything around the third, but you do need to then add on 1 or 2 shield batteries as well. If your first scout that goes across the map, which again should either be the Adept, the hallucinated Phoenix from the Sentry, either one of these work again, which tells you if he's going speedlings or not, because you'll see it. That's what you should be looking for, is he making speedlings, and is he still mining gas at this point? That is a big tell if you need to worry about speedlings. And if it is speedlings, you need to then make batteries at your third as in the future as a follow-up, because this is going to be a serious possibility of what could happen to you, which is what happening. Jesus, I'm stuttering so hard. The possibility of what is already happening at your third could totally happen then, is what I'm trying to say.
Gotcha.
So batteries are important. Like 2 for your third is great because there's no wall here, so you need a little bit more protection. And then if you want to, you could make more pylons, and you can start making pseudo walls around your third. Like, for instance, you could put a pylon on the left side of your mineral line at your third and connect that wall to the minerals with gateways. You can make gateways going further along that in a line all the way to the right to that other wall, and suddenly you have a full wall there if you really wanted to do that. You could wall off the ramp below it. You could put a pylon like once you have the battery set up here, you could try and sneak out a pylon in front of that near the ramp and the rocks, and you could put gateways on top of that ramp, and suddenly now you have a ramp choke point. You could do whatever you want, really. But yeah, you could build more gates, more production around your third if you want to. That's totally fine.
Yeah, and all that comes later.
Yeah, and exactly that's
so instead of me putting those 2 extra gateways, did I put 2 or 3 extra in my main?
You put 2.
I put 2. Yeah, so instead of that, I could have gotten my third out earlier.
Yeah,
and put down those extra gateways once the third is up and running.
Exactly. It's just priority. And if we, just to show you, just to kind of make the point clear here and really like drill it home. If we look at your gateways, I'm going to have this on ×4, and we're going to look at uptime of gateway production. So right now you have the 2, they're still producing, they're fine. I will say right now your third needs to be going down. Again, it's like 4:45 to 5 minutes. The third needs to be started. So,
well, okay, I'm scouting the third and I see no drones.
sure, that's fine.
So should I be thinking that he's going to be attacking me?
Well, you should always be thinking that Zerg can attack you, but I would say there's nothing you need to be worried about, because if like all things considered, all things scouted here, okay, I would not be worried if I were you, because you have every ability here to defend any type of attack that he could launch at you at this point in time, off of 2 gateway production. I'm not saying producing units off 2 gates is bad, but what I am saying is we're going to look at your production, your uptime on 4 gates, and see how much you actually uptime that. Like, there's probably going to be a lot of idle time.
How often I'm not idling my gateways, gotcha.
Yeah, like if this dude attacked you and you have 6 to 8 units out of your 2 gates, plus also an oracle, you're fucking going to be fine. Like, he's not going to kill you.
I tried like hell to make sure I don't lose my oracles.
Because one of the things about Zerg that's different for understanding that Protoss and Terran are not like, is with Zerg, you need to pick and choose units, drones. But with Protoss, you need to literally, you need to be making workers the entire time, and you need to efficiently,
just like Terran.
and you have timers that you need to be hitting, and if you're not, your build is inefficient, like your third timer. So your natural timer is fine. Everyone, I feel like most people understand the natural timer because there's nothing conflicting with it. It's really easy to do. But the third timer
fuck ups beforehand that fuck it up.
Yeah, the third timer is the really important one, because at this point your opponent could definitely be throwing you off your game, making you feel like things are more serious than they might be. And so far right now, it's your third's super late, and then the trade-off was more gates. And the only way you're going to take a third now is if you sacrifice production off these gates. And as we can see, your 2 gates in the front right now are available. They've been available for a while. Your gates in your back of your base are available.
Yeah, and I don't know why I was making the forges, double forges.
Double forge is okay if you're going to go for Stalker. And you're going Stalker, so I don't mind it.
Right. Oh, why is that?
Because if your opponent goes for a... Like, if your opponent does a style where they go for Lings, they go for Mutas, they go for Roach Ravager, they go for like pretty much anything that is under the sun for Zerg. Stalkers are nice supplementary units to something else. I'm not saying pure Stalker is good, but if you go like Stalker, Archon Charge Lot Immortal, that honestly is fine. You can open up with some Stalkers like you did. It would blindly keep you safe from like Roach rushes, and it would be decent against Zergling rushes. If you're well positioned, it would be good against Zergling rushes.
Right, like if you're against a wall.
Yeah, if you're in the middle of fucking nowhere, obviously Stalkers suck against Zerglings. But my point is you could actually go charge the Archon Immortal. You could throw a scout in his base periodically, and if you're going to go double forge style and you go, oh, he's going mutas, you have the ability then, if you want to, if you upgrade weapons and armor, you could get double upgrades, and you could actually just get blink and keep blinking under the mutas and all the lings, and you would actually crush Zerg. Because armor upgrades are insanely hard for mutas to deal with.
Do you prioritize shields if you want to go a heavy Archon?
No. You do. Okay. You never prioritize shields. If you're going to go for a blink, the Stalker style, you never prioritize shields. If you're going to go for an Archon style and not Stalkers at all, then that's fine. And if you're basically, my point is if you're not going to go a Stalker style, you should be making 1 Stalker and stopping. So you're making a lot of Stalkers.
Right.
I think that is fine if you're going to do Stalker style, but yeah.
Gotcha.
What are you going to say?
I think it's been a couple days, so I don't know what my brain was at. So
sure.
Just go ahead and critique, and I'll learn from
that.
that.
No problem. No worries.
I can't give that much feedback as far as my mindset.
I will say this though, okay? So I don't really give a shit what you're making that much. It's all not the hugest of deals. It's something we can talk about, but the more important deal is how late your third is. That is like again, like I said before, if there's only one thing you remember, that is fucking important.
Yeah,
like it's
5 minutes.
Yeah, it definitely needs to be.
Cool. Yeah, I'll have it up, and then it's a lot harder for him to break it if I have the batteries in the pylon placement.
Yeah. And from the way your build's developing, it looks like now you are going to go Archon Charge Lot. And I do not mind that you open up a Stargate. But I will say that you should do your build instead of the way it's going right now. It should be like this, okay? I'm gonna speed it up a little bit. I want to see if you make a Robo. I just want to see if you use a Robo because you should.
I don't.
Oh, okay. I'll pause it.
I'm pretty sure I don't.
I'll pause it then. All right.
Yeah.
So I don't mind if you make literally as many units as you want out of that Stargate. As long as the more units you make, though, the more you have to realize the more damage you need to do to him. Because if you make a lot of units out of the Stargate and you net no gains, like we can see this game, you've killed 0 workers. I would say if this is how your average game goes, stop making so many units out of the Stargate. Make 1 or 2 max and stop. And the reason why is because these Stargate units are setting you really far behind, especially like their investments
economically.
They're investments for the future that will only pay off if you do damage. Otherwise, they put your build so far behind because this is fucking expensive. If we're talking,
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
So
it's just I couldn't get anything done with these oracles, and I didn't want to. I'd rather not lose them. So
you should not.
I have them available for a fight later on. I can scout with them, right?
I agree. I wouldn't say just throw them away, but I will say that Stargate units are units that are higher skill cap. They are more difficult to get things done with, and there is not a single excuse that I will ever accept if you are really good at Protoss. That would, and no matter how good a Zerg you're playing against, you should always be able to kill drones. I would never accept the fact that someone's like, I can't kill drones. It's impossible. Like, it doesn't make sense. But
I agree.
But I will say though. Go ahead.
Sorry. We keep on. So being that I couldn't get anything done with those oracles at that time, I think my mindset was, okay, I'm going to deny creep.
Sure. There's more efficient ways to do it, but
yeah. I agree.
I just, if you want to practice Stargate and you want to make Stargate work and you want to keep practicing harassing and stuff, by all means, do it. Do it as much as you want. But if your build shies away from Stargate eventually anyways, it's just inefficient.
Yeah, this isn't my normal opening.
Okay.
It was just one of the more recent ones I had, and I decided to go Stargate because I don't know.
It's fine.
What my mindset was.
My overall point I'm trying to get here is Stargate is not bad. It's not bad. If you make 1 unit, it's fine. You can take your third with it. It covers you. It covers you from a lot of things. It also protects you really well from getting all-in. Because all-ins usually are Lingbane and Roach Ravager focused, and this will do very well against those things. But you don't have to pump units out of it the whole time. You will force reactions out of the Zerg that will complement the fact that you made a Stargate. And you can do something as simple as make 1 Oracle, and then you could make 1 Phoenix. And your Oracle could fly across the map, poke him once, and then immediately go home and take a third with it. Right after that. And then never move it again until your third's fully good to go.
Yeah, because then he has to waste so much money on spores and more queens, so he ain't gonna be able to attack me anytime soon.
Yeah, and then if you want to make another unit of Stargate, you could make like a Phoenix, just 1, and you could kill overlords around your base, and then you blind him from your future build.
Why is Phoenix more
cheaper?
Void Ray?
It's cheaper and it's faster, and also a Void Ray is a big sign that you're investing a lot into your Stargate, and Phoenix has a lot more range that it can be. Void Ray is pretty fucking obvious what it's going to be, and it's okay. This guy's making a slower unit that is more expensive, and it's not threatening at all if I have queens. Phoenix can be threatening because a lot of Protosses who make Phoenix do not stop at 1. You have the potential to have like 10 Phoenix when you show up at his base. It's a very common thing. No one really, it's very awkward to stop at 1 Phoenix, but if you're going to change your build anyways, it wouldn't be a bad idea to throw your opponent off and also deny scouting at the same time. Void Ray is just, like, when I see someone making Void Ray, I feel so safe. I'm just going to throw that out there. Like, Void Ray fucking sucks.
Yeah, you mass queens and get,
it's terrible. It's fucking terrible. Like, Void Ray, if you're going to make mass voids, it's kind of fun right now, and it has merits to it. But making a void to kill overlords it's an over-investment.
Gotcha.
Okay. But, again, and you don't even have to make the Phoenix if you don't want to. You could literally make 1 Oracle, scout his base, maybe kill some drones if you can, save it, get out of there, go cover your third, call it a day. Behind that, I don't mind that you go into charge lot Archon style you're going to go for, but a more efficient way to go about doing all of this would be Robo first after Stargate, make Observer and then Immortal, and then go into Twilight Council. You can go into Charge then, and then go into Templar Archives, and then you can go into Storm and Archons. But you're doing it in a weird order, because if you go Council first, that only really makes sense if you're going to do a timing.
Right, yeah, because you're getting that initial investment. You gotta... Yeah, okay.
Because Immortals, if you're going to go for a ground style like Charge the Archon, Immortals are massively important. They're like the backbone to that army. They're huge. Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you're fighting against. They are fucking important. And you need to be building up that count from as fast as you can, like from early on. So if you don't make them at all, your army's going to suck. And if you delay them for like 3 minutes because you prioritize a charge upgrade, you're not utilizing the charge upgrade, and you're just wasting time when you could have been making Immortals. Because you're being defensive with charge at that point.
So when you have a Robo up, obviously you want to produce. You don't want it to be chilling. You want it to always be producing.
Yeah, you want it to be making Immortal, like one Immortal at a time. And then I would say, if you're going to play this style as well, Single Forge. Single Forge with weapons, and then once your weapons are done, then you can get a second upgrade like shields or armor, whatever you prefer. I don't mind Double Forge if you go Stalker style, but if this style already looks like you're not going to go Stalker style, you're just making initial Stalkers.
Because it's heavy gas?
Because it's so fast on the Immortals. Or sorry, it's so fast on the Archons, and you also prioritize the charge. I feel like your style is going to be like a hybrid of Charge the Archon Void Rays and Sky units, which is just kind of not the most potent Protoss army that could be made.
No, you're right.
It's just like, it'd be like me saying I'm gonna go like Zergling Corruptor Infester. It's just awkward. It's weird.
Okay, so I'm trying to take some sort of map vision.
Sure.
With putting a few stasis wards.
Yep. Around this stage, I would say, you know what I want you to do? I want you to make a sentry. I'm gonna
wall off?
like we're talking the first unit you make. It doesn't have to be for wall off. It has nothing to do with the wall off. It's for the fact that what I want you to do is that while you're being defensive, because you seem like the macro kind of guy who builds up a bit and then does like 3-base stuff, which I really like, by the way. But I want you to have a sentry that you will periodically make one scout with, and all I want you to do is I want you to always check 2 things in order. Number 1 is, how many bases do you have around where you started? And number 2 is, if I can and it doesn't die, what are you teching into, and what's your unit comp look like? Like, what can I scout further into that? But if you have a sentry making phoenixes like once a minute, you'll see, oh, he's got a 4th. Oh, he's got a 5th. Like you'll see his expansion timings, and you won't have to worry about like
the equivalent of sending an overseer scout.
Yeah, and then you won't have to worry about like, because I feel like there's also a sense of unsurety here. You won't have to think like, okay, I don't really fully know what's going on, and I'm gonna assume this is gonna work, but we're gonna see.
Yeah, those zealots are running to their death right now.
Exactly. Like, it's just, this is an ill-advised attack, and then it's not set up with anything because your army's not going to be hitting anything at the same time.
Yeah.
And the oracles up here, from what I've seen so far, they're going to be chilling, which is okay, but I just wouldn't want as many of them if they're going to chill.
Right. Because that's wasted energy.
It's just wasted time on your build because you're investing into that, not investing in things like your 3rd base. Because you made these early. Because there's limited amounts of resources, and when you invest into something, that is a future benefit if it does damage and it doesn't do anything.
I get you 100% on that.
It just becomes a bad investment.
I get you 100%.
You're like, God damn it, Vibe, stop repeating it.
Crystal clear.
All right, and then right now, this is the perfect time. Like, again, this is late though, but what I'm trying to tell you is if you make probes nonstop, when your 3rd is fully saturated on the mineral line and your gases are either also fully saturated or they're about to be, perfect time to attempt to take a 4th base.
Yep, I think that'll come very quickly.
And definitely, if there wasn't any hiccups and stuff, this could have happened probably like 2.5 minutes ago.
Yep. It's just I'm unsure of what to do right here.
Sure.
And now I'm wasting Oracle energy on revelations.
I think honestly at this point with how many oracles you have, I would be like, yeah, fucking revelate those creep tumors. Get them.
Yeah.
Get them, dude. But this is when you should have an observer as well. So because
Yes.
that's why Robo's so important.
I guess I feel like when I make, I usually go either or, and I don't know when to make both.
Sure.
Stargate and Oracle.
Yeah.
Stargate and Robo.
Yeah. Like if you're gonna open, just know this: if you open Stargate, it's always both. Unless your plan is I'm going Sky Toss, and then you don't have to make a Robo till really late, but you still do need to make it eventually for observers again.
Mm-hmm. Oh God, yeah.
And
this is evil.
The reason why this happened, I'm not gonna lie. The reason why this is happening and why it's a problem, is because you have no immortals.
Yeah, I agree. All right, this game's pretty much over. This is one of my worst games.
No, honestly, I'm not trying to like rag on you or anything. I don't want you to feel like.
I know.
But yeah, no, it's a good example. There's so many things we can fix here, and like they apply in so many ways, and I would say just like kind of breaking down how I think it should gameplay be, how your gameplay should be like this. Okay, I'll say it in a very non-tangenty kind of way. I'll try to get to the point, and this should be your build order playstyle in my opinion. Fast expand, scout, shield battery reasons we talked about. Sentry first into adepts. Stop making adepts once your Stargate and Robo. So Stargate first and then Robo second. Once you start making immortals and once you're done making your Oracle, stop making adepts. Start making zealots and immortals. So at this point you should have made like 8 adepts is what we're talking about. You use these adepts if you do not get attacked to then attack your opponent. It does not matter if they
Do I get resonating glaives?
No. Fuck that upgrade.
Okay.
Screw it.
Okay.
Don't need it. You just make these adepts. The purpose of it is to guard yourself from dying on 2 bases, okay? And then by the time you do an attack with these adepts, it's going to be before you take a third, like just before. You take a third with defensive zealots and immortals, and your Oracle will be there too. Third base gets saturated with well, go ahead.
When I use the adepts,
all you want to do is kill probes. Kill drones.
Okay.
That's it. Like literally.
Okay, so if they die after I get, how many drones do I have to kill to be efficient with them?
0. Just get the fuck. I don't give a fuck. Just attack.
Okay, so make him feel defensive.
No, obviously you want to kill some drones, but realistically, yes, keep him defensive. That's all you want to do, because you're taking a third and it's exposed right now, and
Oh, okay. I understand what you mean. So he has to prioritize defending his base while I get my third up and running.
Yeah, some Zergs won't let you do this. Some Zergs will keep you defensive, but just know that Zergs who do that have no economy. If they're actually pressuring you so hard that you cannot ever find a moment to attack them, they're either way better than you in like GM or some shit, which is, you know, sometimes it happens. Or if they're supposed to be who you're playing against, they're just not making workers, and they're just throwing units away constantly. So if your opponent allows you to move out and attack them at the depths, you do that around the time when you seriously you'll have somewhere between 6 and 8. I would say 6 is great. 6 is fine. At this point, you should also already have an Oracle, and you should already have a Robo as well, and you should have a third that has been started. You can then poke the Zerg, and you can be like, all right, I'm just going to shade into your mineral line, and I'm going to focus fire drones. And then 4 seconds after I shade into that mineral line, I'm going to shade again to your other mineral line. And just keep shading nonstop. It doesn't matter if there's units there or not to defend, because if nothing ends up being defensive there, and you're constantly shading nonstop as fast as you can always hit escape on all your adepts, and it cancels it, and you can keep killing drones where you are. But it always gives you the option to either do it or not, to commit or not. But yeah, mainly you just want to keep him defensive. You just need a couple seconds to get your build off the ground, and then you're fine. Once you then go into the phase where you're going into charge lots and Archon, or charge lots and Immortals, you also should be throwing down. That's when you should throw down your Forge
TC
and your Twilight Council. Exactly.
TC.
Yeah, both.
Yeah, TC into Templar Archives.
Yes, exactly.
And then I can start making Archons once I have my third gases up and running.
Yeah. And then you're just going into Charge Lot Archon Immortal at that point. Like, that's all you're doing. And you should have one Observer at the very least as well with your army. Like, you can make an Immortal first. Yeah, you can make an Immortal first, or you can make an Observer first, either way. But within one of the first 2 units you make, you should throw an Observer in there at some point, like early. And then this is all while you're constantly scouting him with a Hallucinated Phoenix, with that 1 sentry that just keeps sitting in your base. And then if your opponent takes a 4th base, or if you get to a point where you have fully saturated your 3rd base, you should know 100% you should also take a 4th base. Like, I would say this is the I don't want to make this confusing, but this is the difference. If you see your opponent takes a 4th base with a Hallucinated Phoenix Scout, I would say you could start your 4th base when your 3rd is fully saturated on minerals only. So it has 16 probes on it. But if your opponent is not taking a 4th, I still think you should take your 4th when your 3rd is fully saturated on everything. Like, once it's got 22 probes on it,
that's because you'll eventually be 1 step ahead of them later on in the game.
Well, there's 2 reasons for it. One is because it develops a nice follow-up for you to go into if the game does not end right now. And the second reason is because it can very likely prompt an attack from your opponent, which makes it easier for you to fuck him over because he's going to take a fight against you off creep and against your Sim City. It gives you the defender's advantage. So it can create good situations for you just to do shit like that.
It puts in the Zerg's head a timer like, oh fuck, I'm behind.
Yeah,
I got to do something.
Exactly. Like some people freak out about that.
If he doesn't have everything set up, then he's just throwing army away, and then I can roll him over. Okay.
Yeah, and exactly. If the guy just does attack you, he's like, oh, gotta go, got now, and then he throws an army away. Then you're like, well, I'll just counter you and win the game now. It could actually just end games sometimes. And then once you have all this going, your gateway timers should be 2 gates off of 2 bases, while you also have the Robo and the Stargate. Your 3rd base, once it's done, you can add on more gates all the way up to like 8 to 10 gateways. I would say 8 gateways if you're gonna go for 2 Robos, 8 gateways. If you're gonna go for 1 Robo, 10 gateways.
Gotcha.
And then also, if you're gonna go for 2 Robos, do not add on the 2nd Robo until your 3rd base is getting saturated. We're talking like at least 8 probes. So don't make it before your 3rd.
Yeah, I can't economically produce other 2 without 3.
And then, yeah, you're just gonna go Archon, charge that Immortal for the rest of the game for a while, or just for a good amount of time, and then from there you have options as to being something like, if you really wanted to, during this phase you could start going into your Cyber Core and getting weapon upgrades, and then you could also, and this is when you're like maxed out, by the way, you could get Cyber Core upgrades on your air weapons, and you could start going into like 3 or 4 more Stargates and get a fleet beacon, and you could start doing like a carrier mothership transition. Like a Sky Toss transition, if you see that being good for yourself. All while, the last thing I'll say is, all while your Oracle, after it defends your 3rd, because we haven't really given a job for the Oracle yet, once it defends the 3rd and your 3rd is good, that Oracle can literally do this all game until it dies. Fly around the map and find his army and tag it with a Revelation and then run away from him. And if you do this, you'll always know where he is, and it just makes it so easy to like defend whatever he's gonna do.
How long does Revelation last?
40 seconds, I believe.
So, and energy is what?
50.
How fast does it increase?
You can keep a permanent Revelation up almost with 1 Oracle. It's pretty. It's like not
10 seconds lag.
Yeah, you'll have a little bit of dark time in there, but it's almost perfect. And I don't expect you to do it perfectly, anyways. It's something to keep in your mind, where it's like you might want to throw a tag out there every once in a while. Either that would be acceptable, or you can fly over to one of his bases behind where like the overlords are, in like his main or in his natural, somewhere that's kind of like open airspace, and you could try to just keep throwing down annoying ass stasis traps every once in a while. That also would be fine.
Stasis traps only works on ground units, right?
Yes, and I would say the only time it's really worth your while is going to be against workers. Stasis traps,
fully saturated.
Yeah, like it doesn't really matter about saturation as much. It's just if you stop any type of mining, it does something to the Zerg that's annoying. It makes the Zerg have to now obviously miss the mining that is happening during that, but the Zerg has to reissue the command to mine again after it's over, because if you tell your drones to mine during a stasis, they will not mine again.
It doesn't work, yeah.
So if the Zerg fucks that up, you could disable his drones for a very long time if he doesn't realize that.
Right.
So that's also that's acceptable. And if the Oracle dies, and once your 3rd's down, who gives a shit? Because it did its job. It made you get the 3rd. That's the whole point of why you made it.
Okay. Yeah, if I would have just been a little bit more Whatever. I don't need to recollect on this game. I just need to learn and get these things put up in my build and.
I'll tell you right now, if you the things we talked about just now, if you commit some of them to just your next games, you're gonna feel like you're gonna shit on so many players.
Yeah, I feel it already.
Just like I can't stress it enough how important an efficient build is, because even if you play it, like if you,
because I was behind.
Yeah, exactly. If you execute like crap but you do a build defensively, like just the macro stage of it, really close to what it should be, you're always going to have so much shit, and you'll be like, wow, I'm not really microing this that great, but I am crushing, so it doesn't matter. So fancy shit comes in time. Like going mass oracles is fancy, like with more experience and just more solid gameplay. But the build, I do think anybody can do the build as long as you just know. It's like following like a build plan for like IKEA furniture or some shit. It's like, all right, put piece A to piece B and you're good to go. Okay.
Yeah, and that's part of, like, I feel like I've been studying Zerg so much, but I haven't studied Protoss nearly as much.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
I don't know the efficiencies of Protoss.
Yeah. But yeah, that's that would, if you do it like that, the way we just talked about, that would be fucking solid. And then I would say the last thing I'll just kind of touch on would be, once you get into stages of attacking with charge lots and your whole army on the ground, and you take 4th base, 5th base, your future expansions, I would love it if you try to do these numbers at your new expansions that are very exposed. Throw down about 8 cannons and about 5 batteries.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if you do that,
I never get to that point in the game though.
Sure.
Usually my games are done by 12 minutes.
Sure, understandable. But yeah, that if you do that, Zerg will throw away so much fucking money. Because when I play Protoss, I do that all the time, and I'm like, this guy just keeps donating units, because most Protosses do not do that shit until like 56, 5800 MMR. Like, it's very high level shit, but anybody can do it.
Yeah. If I was ahead, I'd been doing that.
Definitely,
since the game ended very quickly, that's what happened.
Yeah. But yeah, any questions in general about things so far?
I wish you could have seen a better game.
No, I think it's great. I think it's great. There's so much to learn from here, and I really feel like we got a lot of good points. And you look, you're going fucking Fleet Beacon. It's perfect. If you are gonna go Fleet Beacon though, never go Void Rays. Always go carriers. I'm not even. That is a definite.
I should have had the Fleet Beacon down before I had at the same time as I made those Stargates, right?
Yeah, you should have. But I even then, that's minor. But I think making voids here. I'm not just trying to say it because you're dead.
Yeah.
Even if like the game was like super like even either way, voids at this stage they're expired. They're no longer good.
Yeah.
You'd want to go carriers definitely instead. The only way voids would make sense is if you completely abandon your entire ground army and you have all supply reserved for air. Once you have like 12 carriers, you can finish off the rest of your supply with Archon, Templar, and Void Ray then. And that would be okay. But just making your Sky Toss all about Void Ray, it's very weak. Because it's only good early before the Zerg can handle it. And if you ever transition late to Void Ray against good Zergs, they will always win. Because spellcasters are so... like that becomes the spellcaster stage of the game. And spellcasters destroy Void Rays.
Question.
Sure.
Was there anything when he came across with his Roach Hydra Lurker? Was there anything I could have done in that situation to come back, or was the game over before then?
Sure. Let's with what I won't give you hypotheticals, but I'll tell you with what you currently had. Let's see.
I only had Stalker, Zealot, Archons.
The only way I can honestly think of you winning this game, right now, okay? Let's just say the game started right here. If you revelated his army, which is what I think you should be doing if you have an Oracle as well. That's what we just talked about a minute ago. If you revelated his army, you could see his composition, first of all, and secondly, you could also see where it goes. And that not only makes it really good for you defensively, but it makes it really good aggressively, because you can do things like, imagine if these Zealots pulled his army, and you saw it happening. You pulled his army south with your with your Revelation and your Zealots, and then now suddenly your army on the top kills his... it's kind of nice to kill the creep, because then you eliminate vision of Zerg. But you can pull him down, kill his creep up top. You can then pull him up top, kill his creep down below. So you blind his ass, and you control where he goes. And as you know he leaves you, you eliminate pieces of Zerg on the other side. And then once you get close enough to the bases, you just start killing workers and hatcheries without him having time to react. Because if you don't prioritize killing creep, you give the Zerg a lot of time to be like, oh shit, we're getting attacked from the top and I have 10 seconds to react to this, and now I'm also on creep, so I can get back faster. And your chances of doing damage goes down a lot. Meanwhile, if you would have seen, okay, this guy's going for Lurker Hydra heavy and Zergling, I would say you have the ability right now to throw down some Robos, which you definitely have enough money for it. I would say throw down like 2 Robos minimum, maybe even 3 at this point because it's so late now. And then get Storm if you don't already have it, which you're getting it. And then just literally don't ever play non-committal. You would have to play this literally push and pull. Like you pull him up here, push that side. Pull him over there, push the other side. You play push and pull.
Don't ever engage on creep.
You do, well, it's not about engaging on creep. It's about engaging with your current composition because your current composition is fucking terrible against lurkers.
Yeah. It's
like all charge lots and some Archon.
Yeah.
The stalkers really don't matter.
Range and it takes forever.
Yeah. Like, well, the charge lots are just going to evaporate in 2 seconds against that. Like, they're all just going to die. It's like almost like walking them into banelings. It would need to be, you just need to realize I can't win this fight, so I need to make something better. And I need to keep him busy while I make something better. And the only way you're going to do that is if you blind his ass and then ruin his economy. And then if you also made a robo, one of the first things you could make out of it, let's say you make 3 robos. You can make Immortal, Observer, and Prism out of the first set of 3. And then you could just go pure Immortals after that. And your Prism could actually fly into the main. And you could just start warping and Zealots in the main too.
Yep.
Just to keep pulling them around. And then while you're pulling them around like this, expand. So you don't run out of money.
Yep.
That is the only way you could win this game at this point. Because if you straight up fight him, it's like he's got rock and you have scissors. It's not gonna go well for a pair of scissors. But yeah, that's honestly about it. For like right now.
Okay. Yeah, comeback mechanics.
Yeah.
I like learning those because I feel like I have won a lot of games like that.
Yeah.
Where I'm clearly behind and then I know what exactly to do to make sure that I can swing the tide back in my favor.
Yeah.
How do you control your Archons so that they're not in the back of a fight?
They almost always, like when charge lots are involved, they always will be. So
well, no, like that line of stalkers blocks 3 of my Archons right there. Like, is there any micro tips you can give me so that I know how to make sure I don't have my Archons sit in the back?
I would say if you have Archons and Stalkers in your composition, your Stalkers should always be willing to blink all the time. And if you're fighting against
right here, I didn't have blink. I don't think
you do have blink.
I do. Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
And here's another thing too. You could do that, or you could literally bind a hotkey to units that are going to be path blocking annoying units in your way. Like you could literally have on number 3, for instance, Stalkers that are also still in group 1, and you could go 1 A move 3 back up, and then 1 second later 3, or you could just reissue 1 A move again, and it would make all your army go there. You could pull back the annoying part of it, and then you could re-A move all of it again. So now it rotates all your annoying units in the back.
Problem is I play with steel commands only.
Sure. So then you could just blink it. Just literally go 1 blink backwards. You obviously wouldn't want to blink forwards here because that's death.
Death.
But if you were against like mutas, yeah, right. You owe me a Coke. But if you were like against like mutas or something, you could blink forwards, and stuff like that. But yeah. That's about that.
Stalkers are prioritized above Archons and Zealots with commands, right?
Yep. And any unit that has an ability is always prioritized over the non-ability ones. And then the more diverse it is for abilities, the more prioritized it gets too. So if you had a Sentry and a Stalker, a Sentry would be priority.
Yep, that's not what I want.
So then all you'd have to do then to fix that is you could go 1 tab blink or 1 tab B click, because tab rotates through subgroups of units in one group.
Yep.
But yeah.
That's for all you listeners at home.
Yeah. Yeah, that fight was.
Dan, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate this.
Yeah, no problem, man. I hope it helps. And I'm gonna post this to YouTube later tonight, and then I will link you I'll give you the link for it basically, so you can I would highly recommend, and this does not apply only to this lesson, it applies to anybody at all who ever gets a lesson. Highly recommend going back and watching them again, rather than
you don't absorb everything at once.
Exactly. Like, don't buy another lesson right away. If you do eventually want to buy one, watch it again, because probably 80 to 90% of what we talked about does not stick until you until you really experience it, and then you actually learn something again, because something that you heard the first time doesn't make a lot of sense until you have absorbed something else that now makes the other thing you heard make sense suddenly. Like, oh shit, that's what he meant. Okay, that actually makes a lot of sense. But yeah, thank you very much, man, for getting a coaching lesson. I appreciate it.
Hey, I feel like I got more value out of it than the $50. So
there you go, and you're gonna crush all your nerd Zerg enemies.
And I go ahead and get 90-10 split on any future coaching lessons because of that comment.
Yeah, there you go, man. I'll start. You're a part owner now. Okay.
My way.
All right, thank you, buddy.
90-10 split, my way.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, drive a hard bargain. I don't even get to negotiate here.
Well, we can negotiate, just sign on the bottom line. We're good.
Okay. All right, you're getting a little ridiculous, and I don't like this.
My schmarmy salesperson techniques will not work on you, I know.
Okay. I'm impervious, dude. I'm good.
Okay, so yeah, let's follow up in a couple weeks.
All right. Good luck, man. Crush the ladder. Tell me how it goes, and thank you again.
And word out to everybody in chat, if you're not subscribed, sub to this dude. He's awesome.
You're so nice. You're so nice. It's gonna be one of these things where we're about to be like, no, you hang up. No, you hang up.
We should make this a thing. Yeah. Check in every week. Say hey, what's up?
All right. Thank you, dude. I'll see you next time. Cool. Have a good night, man.
Cool. You too.
Later, bro. All right, guys. Thank you for watching. That was another coaching lesson. Yeah, ZVP in the bag, or rather PvZ. So, yeah, man. Overall, pretty good. I would say, yeah, I feel like we kind of like broke it down for the most part. There's definitely lots and lots and lots and lots of stuff to talk about in so many different ways. But for the most part, for the core of it, I think we got it kind of hammered out. So if you guys like this video and you want to see more coaching lessons like this in the future, or right now, I have tons more videos just like this where I coach many different styles and levels and leagues and matchups. Check out the rest of my YouTube channel if you're interested. And yeah, just thank you for watching. Subscribe. See you guys next time. Peace, guys.